The recording in progress, of course. All right. Dhanraj was dancing up a storm the other day at the Kirtan, New Year's celebration. I hope you all had a good time as well in your respective areas. But it was quite wonderful, wasn't it, Dhanraj?
It was excellent, Maharaj. The play was excellent. The Kirtan was beautiful.
Good, yeah. Naman, you'd be happy to know we did the story about Jagannath, and it went over really well. Yeah. Of course, I'm never satisfied enough. I want things to be more tweaked, It doesn't get like that. If you put time into these dramas, you'll get it. It's just a matter of time. Good. Well, let's hope this year, 2025, is a little better than 2024. And what can we say? Thank you. Great. The days are counting up. I'll be off to Amsterdam soon also, right? In a month's time. Haribo.
Hare
Krishna.
I'll take one of those windmills. Just, grab onto one of those guys. Prabhu, I think we can get started then, okay? Let's do our pranams to Prabhupada, Panchatattva, Radha Krishna. Then we'll go to our invocational mantra that we look at the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Please, let's do this together. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Vishnisha Srinivadi Paskachati Starine
Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Garadhar Shiva Bhaktivinoda Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare.
Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkest ignorance. And my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge.
My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hi.
Oh, there's incredible delay factor here. Anyway, so let's see what goes. Can't blame it on Toronto now, because I'm in another country now. I'm with the Trinis. All right. Vaishnavi, please give us the verse for today.
We'll be doing 1856 today, Maharaj.
Okay.
And I have a new computer, so Zoom is not set up properly in that. So Naman, if you can share the screen and put up that 1856 would be nice.
Okay, Mataji, I'll just share.
That's called collaboration. That's called cooperation. Love. All right. Let me know when you're ready. Okay, so here we go. 56, all right? And the chapter is titled The Perfection of Renunciation. Sarva karamanya pisada puravano mud yapashriha mat prasadat vapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. Translation. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Hare Krishna. I think we can chop up this purport, divide it in half, nice and slow. 2 volunteers will make this happen. All right. May those lucky people be.
Ritam and Vasanta. Ritam Goswami and Vasanta.
Okay, all right.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The
Yeah.
word Mat Vyapashrayaha means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord.
Thank you very much. Well read. Next.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, readers and listeners. Okay. So we're speaking about devotees who find themselves in a protective shield that comes through in a few places here in chapter 18, such as Sarvadharaman, Varityaja, Mamikam, Sharanang Vraja, Aham Twang Sarva Papebhyo, Mokshishami Ma Shuchaha. Everyone's looking for shelter, but I think we all need to get a little specific about what kind of shelter. Are we talking about shelter from the rain, shelter from the snow, what shelter from being bullied, the heat, and we have what's called sunflies over here. Oh my God, are they ever vicious? Yeah, and so I would recommend don't go to the beach when you come to Trinidad. And at the early morning, when the sun's coming up, or when the sun goes down, you'll experience bites that are unbelievable. You won't know they're there till after the job is done. So to get protection from biting bugs and from people can be pests also. I don't know what it's like in some of the other countries, but there's companies that make a lot of money on pest control, and that ranges anywhere from cucarachas, that is, everyone knows cucaracha, right? The cockroaches, mosquitoes, flies, bed bugs, all kinds of flies, and they can be a real pain. And raccoons in your attic, they get in there. Squirrels get into your attic too. So this is what we have to contend with, And the major, let's say, attacker is Maya in general. And, like a common question that comes to me, even just 2 days ago, was how can I deal with my mind? How can I deal with its nature which goes to dirty places? And, that I think you've all asked that question yourselves, or you ask someone else, and you want protection, right? So I think it can be had, it can be experienced. In chapter 2 from the Gita, right off the bat, one is being told if you contemplate the objects of the senses, one develops an attachment. We've looked at the verse before, right? Jayato Vishyam Pungsam Sangaste Shibajayate Sangad Sanjayate Kama. So you can look it up. Jayato. Jaya refers to meditate and concentrate on sense objects. And by doing so, you just get really hung up, you get really attached. One thing leads to another and another. And by following that course, there is little chance for shelter or protection. So it's something that we need to seek or go towards every day of our life. I want shelter, Krishna, I want your shelter. And we're convinced that we do that by reciting his name, by concentrating on his lila, his pastimes, his heroic tendencies, all this absorption in Krishna gives us protection. And it is an absorption. It is indeed an immersion of thoughts on the absolute, on God, basically. Krishna comes across as a little boy in some instances, but he's much more than that. He's a powerful protector, and we should never forget that. And so this is one of the things that we're being guaranteed have happened. My devotee, particularly my pure devotee, reaches the eternal abode where there is full protection. Right? And that is Goloka, it can be Gokula, it doesn't matter. Any of those places where you find devotees are going to be your shelter. Your camaraderie with devotees is going to give you the protection that you want. Okay, and people talk about free sex and things like that, especially amongst young people. And the best contraception is just to say no, when you're not ready to indulge. So that's one area that people are quite loose about, lenient about. And it's definitely a good idea just to protect yourself and always envision what it means to get entangled into something that you'll regret later on. Because a sense gratification is
Is Maharaj cut off?
I know it's frozen, right?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. I think he has a bad connection there. Oh, Hare Krishna. Maharaj is back.
I never left.
Sorry, Maharaj. We saw it was frozen. We couldn't hear you. So.
Well, again, I don't know what I can do about that here. Did you lose a lot?
No, just the
Did
last
we
part of
miss a
the
lot, a substantial amount?
We didn't
no,
miss a lot.
Maharaj.
Maybe by few, 10, 15 seconds or so.
You were just saying, Maharaj, about
Oh, I
entanglements.
see. It wasn't too many. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Entangle. If you go through the jungle, there's so many areas in the jungle, the forest, where you can get very entangled. Thorny bushes, for instance, or getting, let's say, running into some swamp, getting entangled, going deeper and deeper into the mire. I think we've got all those kind of examples. Watch where you tread. Watch where you go. Try to avoid the entanglement and try to stay clear of the allurements that Maya provides. Hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. This is a very good hint. Just keep active, just keep busy. That is the best protection you can get. All right. Anybody else have something they'd like to contribute? We didn't freeze again, did we?
No, Maharaj.
Yeah,
Like nothing new. It's just that protection is very much important. Like what I've realized recently, that all this discussion about shelter and surrendering is very vital, because you realize that you cannot like you cannot win over it in any way. Like you're not that powerful. And
great.
especially coming to West, I realized that there is lots of way to just go, to make yourself very impure. So yeah, here having association of devotees, and maybe and also like you you feel protected, and especially because of Prabhupada and ISKCON. So
Right.
yeah, it's
And
very important.
beautiful. You just came from a trip from India, right?
Yes,
And you felt like, okay, here we go into the rat race again, and
exactly.
entanglement and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think as we age, the good thing about getting older is that we can, we have choices, and we need to just simply evade those onslaughts, as we say, and they do come in various shapes and forms. Yeah, and here in North America, there's certain kinds of Maya. When I go to India, it's also a different kind of Maya. Like, if I can confess, that sort of movie music where the women sing like high pitch, like they sound like chipmunks. And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
And I said,
Maharaj.
oh my God, that is, it's definitely a deep Maya for some people. I'm not that attracted to it. So that's a qualification, right? If you're exhausted, let's pray for exhaustion.
Yes.
I've done it all. I know what it's all about. There's no relief. There is no real shelter. So, and look, just keep busy. There's 9 processes of devotional service. You can jump from one to the other, and they're all wonderful. They're very powerful. Protective activities. So just have to get on with it and realize that this is the only way to move forward. Pray for protection. When you do your japa in the morning, you just pray for protection. Krishna, I know these names are very powerful, and they're meant for my shelter, to be my shelter. Please help me to give as much concentration in this realm as possible. And and once you're not doing the chanting, then do something else. Keep yourself busy. There's so much there that you can do that can keep you very occupied. Occupied. A devotee is always occupied. Okay. Anybody else have some realizations?
Maharaja, on that question about keeping busy,
Yeah.
what is the balance one should make when it comes to how much busy when living in this material world?
Well, yeah, the balance is, I think you can feel it almost immediately when you're, let's say, entrenched in service, and keep at it. When there's moments of pause, it can be a bit dangerous, right? So where the balance lies in is do some day planning. I'm going to do so much of this, so much of that. I'm going to do some cleaning. I'm going to work in the garden for a half hour, blah, blah, blah. All those kind of things. Just plan yourself, plan your life a little bit, and that makes a big difference. So when you plan your day, you're making utilization of the intelligence, correct? And when you don't use the intelligence, then everything's quite whimsical. And you're not really being sheltered at that point in time. So figure it out. I mean, some people have a lot of physical abilities. They've got a lot of energy that they can exert in Krishna service. Some of us are a little bit handicapped, but figure out what it is that you can do out of the 9 processes, and disperse them. Let them simply be spread out through the day, and also be ready for any adjustments, because Maya does come and throw some curveballs, as we say. Just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's just like, how many people like eating? And a good meal is one where there's a thali, a plate of various kinds of foods. You have something that's a little sweet, something's a little sour, something's a little pungent, and all these things make the meal really, really satisfying. And plus, you get a very balanced diet. It's medicine while it is food at the same time. So I think of it like a nice thali. Or personally, I don't care so much for many different katoris full of different items. I like a meal that has a lot in it, like say like a khichdi, or just a nice mixed veg prep. Everything's there, and you don't have to worry about this and that. But well, I guess some people can say pizza, everything's there. And so our day should be like that. Our day should be very much immersed in various activities. Yep. And that's where the variety comes in. Yeah, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay. Anybody else? Then let's go to the next shloka. Why not?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams.
Yes. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Maharaj, I was just thinking about it and meditating. Like a couple of days before, I was just reading, I think his Swami Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj had a YouTube video where he was talking about spiritual disruptors. And in that, interesting statement he had was, which made me kind of go deeper into it, is like, you need to have a material disruption to have a spiritual awakening. Yeah, and I was thinking, and it's just relating in my life personally, even like when I started taking chanting to be absolute, like really, really where I kind of come to the 5 a.m. club, get up in the morning, finish all my 16 rounds in the morning in the japa call, and the whole day for me goes peacefully. And so earlier, I was not doing that. I used to split my rounds in a day, but now it's kind of, I felt that the days that I do get up in the morning really early in the Brahma Muhurta and chant my rounds, the whole day is so peaceful and I'm able to respond, not just react. And also, I felt that the love for chanting has grown inside me, I would say. So for my personal thing, I think Maya, one way to keep Maya, especially for me, Maharaj, was to not compromise on that, the chanting portion.
Oh, very nice delivery. I appreciate so much what you said. And that's where I was going also. Plan your day. And the morning hours are the best hours for spiritual participation. Yeah. And then it gives you a certain strength. So anything that may come to disrupt your spiritual progress will have less of a chance. Yeah. So I agree with you. I mean, in the morning, what are you going to do? Everyone's sleeping. Of those hours that we were talking about, what Prabhupada gave to us as a morning program, people are pretty much asleep. And then when they do get up, it's like, okay, coffee, rush, maybe not even take a shower. And just get out there and push yourself. The rat race is on, and you're part of being a rat yourself. It's Prabhupada's formula, and what the acharyas have given us is a solution that makes it very edifying for making spiritual advancement. Yeah, so definitely, if Anandashesh, your question lies in the balance. So we'll start off with your balance with the best stuff in the beginning. And then everything else does oftentimes go a lot more smooth. I wouldn't compromise on that. I really wouldn't. And, it depends a little bit on people's work schedule. That is an issue, of course. But for those of us who have the time, those of us who are on the road to seniority, if I can use that term, why not give that mantra? Be immersed and get your head full of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah. And Prabhupada once was arguing about people saying, you're brainwashed. You people are you Hare Krishnas, you're brainwashed. They said, well, our brains, everyone's brains is full of stool. So therefore we have to wash it. Whatever thoughts may come of their own accord. That's self-centered. So therefore we can agree, yeah, we wash brains. We control minds. I have a mind that's out of control, and I wish to not allow it to go in all directions and just be very, very focused on this. So I do believe that is the formula, what you're talking about, Vasanta, and it is something that you accomplish in the morning. It's such a good start. When I see people going to the gym, or people are going to the jog or the gym or whatever else, that kind of like a healthy exercise, how it takes shape. It's executed in the morning, and the most successful people in the world are those who are early birds. Somehow or other, as the saying goes, the early bird gets the worm. So there's something to be achieved from that early rising, and that has a lot to do with how you manage your day. Get it done nice and early. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
I'm endorsing what you're saying. All right. Anybody else there have some other thoughts?
Maharaj, I just wanted to say that what Sandamini said was very beautiful, and the way you endorsed it was fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And I look at that word engaged. You see how it's there in 56. Before I came to the movement, my idea of engagement was when a ring is passed from one person to another, and say, we're now connected. We are now connected. And that was my only understanding of engagement. Of course, in classical English, engagement means much more. And I was hearing that word all over the place. Oh, he's engaged. She's engaged on the altar. Or he is engaged in cooking. Engaged. Engaged means to be beautifully entangled. Yeah. And as King Kulashekar was saying, let my attention be constantly entangled in your lotus feet like a swan. The swan likes to put his neck in to all these reeds, that are situated in the bottom of the lake, and it's just a rush for the swan. So in the same way, just get yourself entangled in Krishna's lotus feet. That means his pastimes, particularly his kirtan. Now, we just passed the New Year's, and a lot of devotees were putting emphasis on chanting. I noticed that's one feature that especially our young people really get into. It's the kirtan. the kirtan and drama. I want to say. It's a beautiful engagement for our young people. When you play a role or you set up a stage for people taking up different roles, you are really doing something unique. And that is your soul is entering into someone else's body and you're rolling around inside of it. Your soul is crawling around in it. And, you have all these, experiences that wouldn't be there otherwise. So role playing, it's beautiful. Kirtan, it's beautiful. Prasadam, those are things. When it comes to philosophy, less attractive for a lot of folks, but it's still something that we very much depend upon. We very much need. At the hour of need, it's great to have that. All right, so let's keep engaged, We don't have to pass rings around, but let us keep ourselves busy in service to others. Right. Anything else, Bruce? Do you want to go to the next sloka? All right, so let's get someone to do the Sanskrit, someone the English, and we have enough stuff here for 4 people, I think. All right, let's queue up.
Okay, Naman and Violeta, you can read first, and then Arjuna, if you can read, and Ashaji, if you are able to, last you read. If Ashaji cannot read, then Guru Das do it.
Jai Ho.
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगम् उपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव.
Nice.
In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Purport then.
When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like the servants, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply
Thank
discharges.
you.
Okay.
Next person. Yeah, sorry. I know you're enthusiastic.
Okay, I can read this. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna. But when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word mat parah is very important in this verse. It indicates
Okay,
that
that's good. That's good. Thank you.
It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord.
Thank you. Great.
That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. That is very important point. That order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the word order appears in there. It's actually a very, very congenial thing to take some orders, kind of like, yes, sir, coming from Krishna, coming from Guru. And when I say Krishna, it could be Chaitya Guru, it could be Paramatma giving some direction. But if that doesn't register with us so clearly in the beginning, then at least we can say, let me take some orders from my mentors, my gurus. That is, people who know more than I know. And once you've got that, you've got shelter. You have protection. And without it, it's whimsy. And that's where we run into trouble. So on the point of being a servant, I like that phrase, a servant has no individual independence. He acts under the order of the master. Yeah. And most dogs who have an owner, they do pretty good in this department. They take the order of their master and take it well. And it's quite remarkable. That's one of the reasons why, of all possible pets, dogs reign almost supreme for a lot of people. They're ready to follow the order so that you have some protection. And then, I love that as an example. In the Bhagavatam, we hear about the 24 gurus. But I had a question about that when I went through it. Said, well, there's no example of a dog as someone who takes directions or loyalty. That's the word we're looking for. To be loyal, which a dog does like anything. To be obedient, and maybe a second installment of gurus will come around. You learn something so much from animals. They all have certain traits to follow. But definitely, let's show loyalty, and then there is protection. And if we just act on whimsy, yeah, definitely, we lose the protective element. So I'm just going to go over this verse again. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So to be conscious of Krishna means to follow Krishna. It was 2 days ago at the festival of Janmashtami, not Janmashtami, I'm sorry, New Year's. So one young fellow said, he was making a point. I want to clear up my mind on something. He said, Bhagavad Gita is very sacred to us all. But if we put it in dark places, won't that affect the delivery negatively? Will it not be disadvantageous? And I also hear the same argument. Some people say, we shouldn't have, Jagannath's face on our t-shirt because we'll go into public washrooms, etc., like that. And or tulsi beads, perhaps you peruse have heard this before. One shouldn't have tulsi if you're not initiated. There are those kind of arguments. Have you heard those things before?
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, I think there's two schools of thought. You can certainly take shelter of these different icons or images or what jewelry or wardrobe, whatever you want to call it, and affect other people. Other people will get some benefit from seeing and hearing all these spiritual, let's say, projections. And if we become too stuffy, let's put it that way, too stuffy, and don't allow, they'd be too restrictive and rigid, it's not very attractive for a lot of people. That's what I would say. So I think it's better to insert in your life whatever you can that will remind people of Krishna and let him be your guide. And if we become too restrictive, who's going to join? Who's going to be part of a society or a company of people that make it so restrictive and so hard to be able to follow? So I don't mind hearing from some of you if you have some other, say, thoughts on this matter, contrary to what I was just saying. I'm just one of those persons who say, hey, Krishna is like the sun, and the sun will release its sun rays and clear up, let's say, those things that are not so suchi, clean. And in fact, the sun has the opposite effect, antiseptic, prophylactic. It has an effect of purifying everything around it. So, and it's not that the sun, once it contacts, say like a dead body that's decaying, or like an outhouse or something like that, where the stench is pretty obnoxious. It doesn't work that the sun is not going to be affected. The sun is so powerful that it will clean up, it'll purge everything. So I think that's the way to look at it. And, distribute freely anything that has some connection with Krishna. And it will become popular. And this is, even when it comes to dress code, if people start wearing dhotis and saris, that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Down the street, but there, because it's all very comfortable, and also represents a culture that's steeped in spirituality. Yes, okay. We've got Ananta Shesha. I guess he wanted to make a point there. You can still do that. Thank you very much, and we like to hear from others. Anybody want to present their take on what we were just talking about?
Maharaj, so it's mostly about, Bhagavad Gita. So many like Indians or Hindus, because they consider Bhagavad Gita to be like super sacred, they don't want to like, touch it, or they don't want to like take it because they think that, they can make it like impure or something like that. So, and when we are distributing it to them, it feels like you understand them, but you don't understand them to like, when are you going to read it then? So it becomes very weird, like to distribute it to them. And it's really hard to combat their argument too. So yeah, so there is definitely a section of Indians actually who don't read Bhagavad Gita because it is sacred. Like that's my conclusion.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions. People also prescribe to the Mayavad approach, and they feel that this is right. But according to our acharyas, it's not right. We prescribe to a personal God. But let us take another example. Devotees have gotten like full on with distributing books in places like prisons or like in hotel rooms, and done it very successfully. But I personally run into a situation, well, I'm not going to put any Bhagavad Gitas in my hotel rooms. Do you know what people do in those rooms? I'm quite aware. So let's give them a chance then. If we don't show some kind of mercy, when will they have an opportunity? If we just kind of block everybody from this wisdom, then they don't have the opportunity. So let's get out there and share the wisdom, share the goods, and then protection will come. The Gita is for everybody. It's a wisdom that's available for those who are struggling in this world, dealing with depression, dealing with anything that could bring you down. And so they need to be given a chance. And that's Prabhupada's mercy. He loved to get the books out, and our acharyas too. They just, by hook or by crook, is the message. Let's get the message out there because people need it. Okay. Now, some Hindu folks want to stick to some of these old concepts, like they do with the caste system. And, some people just go and say, "Oh, we are Brahmins." Oh, really? Oh, that's very nice. Prove it. They're really stuck in certain ideologies, and it's very hard for them to change. I think we stand a better chance with our second gen, or the young people who are coming around these days. They've now, with ISKCON being so popular amongst the youth, they'll look at things from a different angle, not some other interpretations. Yep. Okay. Anybody got some comments?
Maharaj,
Yeah,
I would
go
like to
ahead.
add, Maharaj, I would like to add to the point of when we try to be less rigid, how can you make sure that we stay strict with the rules and regulations?
Yeah, I think one policy that we should adapt to is that make it easy for others, to enter in, open the door for them. But when it comes to your own, let's say, tapasya or your sadhana, be a little more strict there. The door should be a little more closed. So if that makes some kind of sense, be hard on yourself, be soft on others. Okay? And they'll be inspired by seeing you, the practitioner, engaged in, simple austerities, willingly take on some self-discipline. People like that. Oh, sometimes things get a little out of control. I remember there was some, I think it was Niranjan Swami. Now, one of the devotees that I met, he said there was one devotee in
Maharaj froze, right?
Yes.
Maybe where he is very cold.
At a very important juncture.
Maharaj, you're
you're
muted. Maharaj, you're muted.
Mataji is also frozen.
Maharaj, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Well, I didn't unmute myself. I didn't do anything. So I guess
So you
Yeah,
froze
actually,
and then
yeah.
you got muted. But you were at the point where you were talking about a Vaishnav. You said a devotee of yours. You're giving an example of a devotee, and that's where you got frozen.
Okay, well, okay, I'll explain it real fast in case something else happens. So one particular person in the Russian community was told two things. Now you have to do 16 rounds and you should take a cold shower in the morning. So he mixed up the two directives and he was sitting in the shower chanting Hare Krishna for 2 hours doing his 16 rounds. So you can imagine what that would do to anybody's health. Okay. So when we take directions, we have to approach it with some kind of, intelligence. Poor guy. Okay. I think it would be good if we could wrap it up because I'm supposed to go to the temple and it's about a 7-minute walk. I think something like that. Because there's a lot of potholes everywhere. There's a lot of rain here. And you got to watch where you go. Otherwise, you get splashed to death. So it might take a little time. Let's wrap it up. One word for everybody. one word wrap up, one word takeaway. How's that? Vaishnavi, go ahead.
Okay, Maharaj, I'm trying to. Okay. So, Dhanraj, you want to start?
Engagement.
Engage.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
Anantasesha.
Next.
Anantasesha. Prabhu.
Krishna.
Krishna. Boy, that's a pretty safe one. Next.
Gurudas.
I was just gonna say engaged.
Okay. We got people of similar minds. Yes.
Asha.
Start with baby step. You don't have to be very strict on yourself, but gradually you delve into it.
It's one word. It's one word, Asha. Not one paragraph. One word.
Okay.
People are getting on your case.
Take baby step.
Yes, baby step. Rita.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Surrender.
Surrender, yes. Wow. Boom.
Arjuna.
Devotion.
Devotion, good.
Arjun Sakha.
Dedication.
Dedication. Yeah, Hari Bol.
Jai Gaurav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Devotional service.
Oh, okay, that's two words, so you're disqualified. You can say devotion or you can say service.
Naman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Protection.
Protection, yes, yes, that's a key word, yeah. The theme we started with, yes. Okay.
And I would say prophylactic.
Prophylactic, okay, great, yes.
Sandhamani.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Determination.
Determination, Jai Ho. Love it. Next.
Uddhava Prabhu.
Planning.
Planning, yes, good. See how easy it is with one word.
Vasanta.
Surrender.
What was that word?
Surrender.
Surrender, okay, sure.
Okay.
Who's next?
I think everyone else is done. So for me,
Except for Vaishnavi.
sincere.
Sincere, okay, I like it. Good, good, good. Okay, so we're going to try our best to get on board next week. I'm not sure where I'm going to be. I'll be in another country, that's for sure. And we'll just try our best. Okay, thank you very much. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Shochati Takangshati. Some of you are going to get let's start off next week with Brahma Bhuta. Let's get those sloka down, okay? In Sanskrit or English or both. I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. All right. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Happy New Year. Safe travels.
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasinubhyascha Namo Namaha.
Jai Maharaj, thank you.
Jai Maharaj.
Happy New Year. Hare Krishna.
Happy
Thank you,
New
Vaishnavi.
Year.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Happy New
Hare
Year.
Krishna Maharaj.
Have a great